We are in Ahmedabad right now,
where the roads are absolutely spectacular. The entire house is just so full of art. तो आपका घर बहुत interesting है. अगर ये लाख रुपए का निकला है, तो फिर आपका घाटा नहीं होगा.
I don't have that kind of money. Why are you giving that?
Pratik and Gautam actually sent us this absolutely nutty man. आपने खरीदा कितने का?
वो तो सर मैं तो कोई भी रेट में खरीदूं, मैं तो फ्री में भी खरीद सकता हूँ. दोनों चिंगूस बहुत थे, बहुत यानी बहुत चिंगूस थे.
After 200 odd kilometers, we reached Bhavnagar, and this place was quite nice, small town. When we actually saw it, it seemed like an amalgamation of a clock, a lamp.
100-200 रुपया कम कर दूंगा बस.
$2 grand?
Yeah, it's fair deal.
Hi, my name is Sandeep Gajar, also known as Sunny.
I'm Avinash Kumar Singh.
Me and my co-rider will be traveling across 10,000 kilometers.
Across the length and the breadth of the country on two super bikes.
We will be collecting interesting items from interesting people. Have a look at this.
People who collect stuff, who hoard stuff, who buy and sell things, and sometimes just regular, ordinary people who might have extraordinary stories to share.
Norton Mang from 1954.
जापान के पिन यूज करते थे ऐसा टू.
We land up at their doorstep, we coax, cajole, beg and plead for their things. If they don't give it to us, we steal it. Not really. We'll end up trying to buy it off them.
$3.5.
मेरा भी नहीं, आपका नहीं, 4700.
Dollars में कि rupees?
नहीं reasonably rate है.
And we will, in the end, put these items together.
We send it all back to a bunch of designers who will put it all together fantastically in an art installation called
Freedom Bike. Mumbai, which is a super chaotic city, always hard to find what you're looking for. And sometimes you find what you're looking for right in front of your eyes, all of a sudden. So we were here on the collector's ride, Avinash and me, searching for something very unique. And we find this guy who's got a Guinness World Record.
It's not often you can actually walk into a twice Guinness World Record holder into his home and see what he actually holds the records for.
So we enter this apartment building. We go to his apartment.
आइए, nice to meet you.
When we enter inside, all we see are... Oh my God. Oh my God. Huh? Cameras and cameras everywhere. On the ceiling and on the floor, in the cabinets, everywhere.
कैमरा कलेक्शन का मेरे को बचपन से एक शौक है.
So he has in excess of 4,500 cameras, which range from little miniature spy cameras to large format panoramic cameras. I actually found him online because he was selling a 1947 Brownie. Why do you collect cameras?
ये मेरे को पहले से फोटो का मेरे ग्रैंडफादर को भी हॉबी थी. मेरे ग्रैंडफादर आप मानेंगे नहीं 600 कैमरा इकट्ठा किया था.
Mr. Dilish Parekh has to be one of the most encyclopedic man when it comes to cameras.
मेरे पास बुक है इंटरनेशनल कि जोसेफ की बुक के अंदर पेज नंबर 81 में ये कैमरा है. उसके अंदर 363 उसमें पूरी हिस्ट्री लिखी हुई है.
So हर
कैमरा की हिस्ट्री लिखी हुई है.
He showed us various amount of cameras that he had.
There was a Canon which possibly the world's fastest lens at 0.9.
एरोमेटिक कैमरा है, गोलीफ्लेक्स टेगी है, गोलीफ्लेक्स वाइड है, हेजलब्रेड है, बोनिका है, रिनोफ है.
तो आपका सबसे स्पेशल कैमरा कौन सा है?
ये लाइका 250 है.
Only about 1,000 odd Leica 250s ever made it through production. There are only 4 of these left in the world. You could get off about 250 exposures before you needed to change the film.
He had another camera which was actually hung during the Hiroshima bombing.
हेलीकॉप्टर के बांधते थे, बॉम्बार्डमेंट करते थे, रस्सी खींच के फोटो निकाल.
So there's a lot of history behind every camera.
There were a surprising number of little spy cameras, which I'm not quite sure why he had so many of.
ये स्पाई कैमरा है, इस बटन कैमरा, मेड इन ऑक्यूपाइड जापान.
मतलब ये जेम्स बॉन्ड
हाँ ये सब स्पाई उस जमाने में जो वर्ल्ड वॉर ये सब हुआ इसमें यही यूज हुए थे सब.
And not only the cameras, I think he has very rare films. ये मतलब unused film है.
Unused फिल्म है.
And since I'm a photographer, I'm meant to click the shutter button. And I'm thinking, what is this guy doing with all these cameras? He's not even a photographer. Or perhaps he is, with all due respects. But then, you know, this train of thought, perhaps Avinash sensed it. Sir, मैं ये यहाँ रख रहा हूँ.
हाँ जगह
ये film बहुत ज़्यादा.
बहुत सारे कैमरे.
नहीं. I'm thinking that I'm not the one who goes on stealing stuff, you know, from other people's. He's usually the one who's trying to do that. गलत जगह आ गया ना.
ये इस पे आप ध्यान रखिएगा सर। पता
मेरे
नहीं,
पास
आते जाते
मेरे
कुछ
पास
उठा
3 ही
लेगा।
कैमरे हैं. But at this particular time, I think he was right, and I wanted to do something like to, basically I wanted to steal at least a couple of cameras, or ask this guy to adopt me or something. But I'll leave that to another day.
He's like a kid in a candy store, right? So when we walked in, he pulled out pretty much everything that he had.
इस जाइस आइकॉन का है,
अच्छा.
कॉन्टेसा है,
ये वही जाइस है जो कार्ल जाइस हो गया.
कार्ल जाइस, उसमें से कार्ल जाइस का ही लेंस लगा हुआ है, 2.8 का लगा
But this
हुआ
is
है.
a 52.
1957 का ब्राउनी 620 है. It's a very successful model.
We fooled around for a bit. We actually managed to take a selfie with the certificate from Guinness. अच्छा, तो अब मुद्दे पे आते हैं कि लें तो कौन सा लें. This has historical value. What with
This is the one.
1947, so it sort of makes sense.
Yes.
This is more interesting. इसका आपने मेरे ख्याल से 4000 पोस्ट किया हुआ है ना?
यार, और
और
इसका
इसका?
5000. इसकी उस जमाने में इसमें उस नहीं रुपीस उस जमाने में
इसकी धक जो है थोड़ी सी कम हो गई है. Okay, चलो decide. You're the one who got paid for it.
Let's go with this, and let's keep this. You want that? Pay for it. I'm the one who usually haggles and tries to save money, but this time I had developed immense respect for this man who has managed to amass like 4,500 cameras. I had resolved that not to haggle with him.
Okay. So then we will take this. I'm more keen on that, but we'll take this. दोनों नहीं देंगे 4000 में. कोशिश करने को हर्ज नहीं. एक बार कोशिश तो बनता है.
It was a very reasonable kind of demand, and I had no issues whatsoever in paying the money he wanted.
Thank you. And pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Whatever camera we have, the point is that the designers should use it properly. For me, it's 50% freedom.
Very intense.
Yeah, Bombay is also intense. Just go down the streets and intense traffic.
Because we're in Bombay, we decided to go meet a friend of mine. We're going to meet Hemant Chaturvedi, who's a very well-known DOP,
DOP?
director of photography.
Seriously?
Yes. Who has shot stuff like Maqbool, shot Company, Ishaqzadeh, and he
What do you
lives
have to
in Mud
guess?
Island.
Seriously? I've heard that's a beautiful place.
Beautiful, it's far as hell. Why are we going there? Well, he has a set of Goodman's Audio M60 El Nino speakers. Their claim to fame was that Beatles actually use them a lot. We're going to
We want speakers.
Yes.
To put it on the bike.
Yes.
And yeah, I like bikes which have nice speakers. Bombay being the chaotic city it is, I wasn't expecting the road to the Mud Island to be so nice, full of greenery, although narrow. So we go to his apartment.
Hemant.
How are you?
बिन बुलाए मेहमान.
अरे तुम तो वैसे ही हो यार. Hi Hemant. छोटे भी नहीं हो, जगह भी बहुत लेते हो. Hi Sunny.
Starting from his gate to everything in the house was actually a collector's item.
I've always had an obsession for quirky things, fun things.
He has eclectic taste. I mean, so he collects Mad Comics, he collects old vinyl records.
He had a lot of speakers, he had a lot of musical instruments.
Everything I have here is of a certain quality. There's nothing that's, raste ka chalu.
All old, all in perfect working condition.
The whole point is that everything has to work. I have nothing in this house that doesn't work.
So you're a nutty man with regards to bits and bobs, and he's a nutty man with regards to motorcycles. So he roams the world. He decides to take off on a motorcycle and do what, 24, 25?
No, I also do photography, in case you've forgotten.
And he does photography.
Okay, that's good to know.
So while we were in Bombay, you came to mind for the speakers that you have. I'm going to try and bulldoze you and cajole you and plead with to part with. You have that expression in your face which says, when hell freezes over.
I'm a cinematographer in Bollywood.
Tell me one thing.
I am Brazilian.
I don't know where it's going to go on the bike, but if the bike doesn't take it, I will. I know there's a history behind these.
There is a history
and
indeed. There's a pretty substantial history. There is only one speaker cone in these. Okay, this was a technology from the 50s called full range drivers, which means that one speaker cone produces all the frequencies.
It's got a high dynamic range. That's right.
And there's a
magnet in
Beatles.
them called Alnico, which is a very rare, naturally formed magnet that goes into the manufacture of these speakers, which make them really special. These speakers used to be used by the Beatles for their studio and stage monitoring. for pretty much most of their career.
His house looked like it belonged to a teenager who's grown up, and yet he's not grown up. It's very hard to classify all the kind of things that he had.
So why do you collect?
We grew up from a generation that would buy one thing for life. Things have changed, I guess. These days, people want the newest thing and the latest thing, and I want the oldest thing and the least prevalent thing at the moment. Okay, I don't collect as much as I'd like to restore things that were meant to last a lifetime.
Everything that he collects actually has a story behind it.
That poster for me is very special. It's a poster of Sahib Bibi aur Ghulam. It is an original vintage poster from the year that the film was released. But what was interesting is that I found the poster and my favorite actress is not on the poster. Wahida Rahman is not on the poster. It's Sahib Bibi and Bibi aur Ghulam. So if you look further down at the bottom, on the left bottom, and read what's written.
She's signed it.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So now she's on the poster.
He possibly has the sword that was used by Rani of Jhansi.
This I've inherited from an uncle of mine. There is some rumor in the family that we are descended from the Rani of Jhansi.
Yeah, so he claims, but he's a filmmaker, remember. So you might have a lot of props.
No, I wouldn't think so. He doesn't seem like the
You
guy.
like to
He
believe
knows.
your friend is a good man?
He's a good man.
All right.
I've had it dated and it is about 200 plus years old. And the gentleman who dated it was a specialist. He said it's also a woman's sword of the era because a man would never use a sword of this size. It's too small for a man.
It was from the era of the first war of independence.
And it might have seen the blood of a few Englishmen.
So that was a Freedom Connect, and I really wanted to, get that sword.
Since we've gone back in time,
Yep.
you have a little thing with time as well, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Go on then.
Okay. I inherited 2 watches from my 2 grandparents. So I got a Longines Conquest from the 50s from my mum's father. And I got an HMT Janta from my dad's father. Okay.
He takes us to his room inside his apartment, like further down inside, and there are a lot of watches being neatly, arranged on the bed. He says, "Have a look. I also collect watches."
There you are. So we got 40. These are HMT Jantas. It's the most unique watch. Again, they're not easy to find. They're not very many made. It's an HMT Janta entirely in Hindi. It even says Satra Jewels and Bharat Mein Nirmit and Paira Shak.
So, after having a look around all the nice things, intriguing things that he had in his place, it was time for us to ask for what we had come for.
So you're not going to give us the speakers, are you?
I'm not going to give you the speakers because, as I said earlier, there are some things that are just exclusive.
I can't
and
bulldoze you.
rare.
I can't plead with you.
No.
I can't get down on bended knee and we did not manage to get the speakers.
Sadly, they are too unique and too rare for me to give away.
He said that I don't want to give the speakers.
If these were replaceable, they could have had them, but they're not replaceable, so they stay in my home.
But he said, hold on, I've got something for Avinash.
Since I am a generous person, possessive and generous at the same time,
Okay.
when I heard that you guys were coming and I knew the purpose that was bringing you here, I did something interesting, and that's the truth.
Even though we didn't get the Goodmans, he's a good man though.
Yeah, of course, he's a good man. He said that have a look at the watch that I'm wearing. Avinash, tried to take a closer look, and closer look, and he says, my God, it's my name written on the watch.
So you can actually
Oh,
Leave home with an eponymous watch.
There's there's... Avinash is like almost in tears, and you have to be because there's an emotional moment. Somebody's giving you a watch, an old watch with your name written on it. So what else could you want?
You can change the strap. I can give you a strap.
no!
it fits.
It fits!
आपकी तो बड़ी मधुर कलाइयाँ हैं।
Nazuk kalaiyan.
The HMT Jantas at one time were known as the working man's timekeeper. The most fun thing about the HMT watches is that they name their ranges after Hindu names.
My
They
friends,
show
this
this-
is absolutely stunning. Thank you very much.
Feeling left out.
So I was feeling a little left out. I asked him, I want him to say that, there's somewhere Sandeep also written on it, but no, I think Sandeep is just too kind of a modern name.
I am now the proud owner of an HMT Avinash.
You know what? I was under the impression that you will give me your modern watch.
No.
No?
No.
How will you wear 2 watches? You're not even wearing them.
I'll wear one here and one here.
Seriously?
Yes.
I go for it. Actually, I'm very inspired by this man. I'm
You're
telling
inspired
you.
by a lot of people, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what makes me. I'm also inspired by you in some ways. Or not to do, what not to do.
Okay, Hemant, this has been an absolute pleasure. Good afternoon. Good afternoon with him. Good time spent.
Hello?
Hey guys,
How's it going, man?
Great, the heat is a lot, but we're enjoying the ride. Yeah.
Listen, guys, I found this really interesting guy on OLX. He's from Pune, and he collects really interesting stuff. And I found this really cool horn that he has, which is he's put up on OLX. I think you should take a look. It's gonna really value add to our design.
Is he a horny guy?
No, well, for your sake, he's not.
Alright, so he's got horns. And anyone else?
Well, at the moment, this is the guy I found for you guys. I'll look for more, and once I get something, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, alright.
Alright.
Bye, guys. All the best.
See ya.
Pune is one of my favorite cities in India.
He's lying. He said that to about every single
No,
city.
I'll tell you why. Pune is one of my favorite cities because it's got a lot of mountains around it.
It's green. It's got a really nice vibe. It's a young city. I mean, there's lots and lots of youngsters. The only problem being that it is full, absolute. I mean, they're like maggots. There are so many two-wheelers on the roads here that you cannot afford to let your guard down even for half a second.
Avinash and me, we rode to this guy's place.
And on the way, we saw this little Iranian cafe. So we stopped, and I had to introduce Sunny to bun maska and chai. The whole idea of the Irani cafe was the fact that it was a space where people could meet up. Sab, do bun maska aur chai milega?
And we started discussing about the person which we had to meet next in Pune.
And what I liked about that guy was that he's just... Hang on a minute, where's my bun maska, man?
It's coming, hold on.
No! I'm hungry.
You know, he was sort of looking addicted to this particular thing because he was, not ready to wait for his order, which was, I think, delayed for, by a couple of minutes. I couldn't understand what was all the fuss about.
I need to feed this large body.
But nevertheless, the order eventually came onto the table. You know, when I first saw it looked pretty ordinary. You know, it was a bun, there was some butter in it, and there was this chai. Then he said that the real trick is to take the bun with the butter and pour it in the tea and then have it. I did exactly that, and behold, there was a revelation, and I exactly knew why he was after it for such a long time. It actually melted in my mouth,
The food is fantastic, the chai is kadak, and the bun maska is with lots of maska, which is not good for my ever-expanding waistline, but it is something that I will do over and over again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So we went to this gentleman. Hi, Sunny.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Avinash.
We entered the house.
So can we see the horn?
Yes, sir.
He had actually 50 horns. So
Yeah.
he got around 6
And
7 horns.
he only had 2 on sale, so. There was an original Bosch horn.
बॉश कंपनी का जर्मन हॉर्न है.
Just to actually hold something that was 60, 70 years old was quite stunning.
दिस इज अ मैनुअल वर्किंग हॉर्न. एक रैक एंड पिनियन है इसमें. डायफ्राम को पूरे ब्रश करके वो वर्क होता है.
And what is this?
While pressing
वो
a
कार
brake,
में आता था. उसमें अंदर 4 वॉल है अपना इनलेट एग्जॉस्ट वॉल जैसा मोटरसाइकिल में रहता है वैसे. और वो सीक्वेंस से चलते हैं और वो म्यूजिकली ऑन होता है. इट इज अ बैटरी ऑपरेटेड हॉर्न.
सबसे कीमती हॉर्न कौन सा होगा आपके पास?
ये अराउंड 30,000 रुपीज.
हम इनमें से चूज कर सकते हैं कि
हाँ, ये इनमें से आप चूज कर सकते हो. दिस कॉस्ट 6,000 रुपीज. ये 4,000 है और ये 3,000.
There was a little bit of confusion. There were 2. One was a straight horn, which he was selling for about 3 grand. Looked a little rusty, looked a little worse for wear.
I was particularly interested in one horn which was an L-shaped horn. It looked a little bit more new and it had like everything in place.
it looks like almost it's like taking a U-turn, you know?
It's almost like that.
Really? You make a U-turn at 90 degrees? Really?
It's almost, I'm saying, almost.
We'll take 5 years to decide on this. Magar.
I was pretty sure that he was collecting other stuff also besides horn.
I have some bicycles, some tricycles. For kids. For kids also I have.
Took us upstairs and there was this room where there were a lot of cycles hanging from the ceiling. All sort of cycles, tricycles, bicycles, baby cycles, and all these kind of things.
So how many bicycles do you have?
Bicycles and tricycles around 150.
150.
I made a bit of a fool of myself. I got into a little yellow tricycle with a wooden seat. Okay, this is not. I can go back. I was half afraid that it would fall apart under my weight, but it survived.
Basically, मैं पहले motorcycle collect करता था.
Motorcycle collector.
I have one Norton, one Ariel.
वो तो देखना. Which basically led both of us salivating down our respective beards.
He took us downstairs.
Vikram pulled up the shutter, and there was Nirvana.
Have a look at this. Huh?
There were about 9 motorcycles, and there were 2 scooters. There was a Lambretta, and there was also an old Vespa. The pride of place was this red Indian chief. 1944,
The clutch was on the right foot.
accelerator on the left.
The gear lever was here. This is the gear shift.
Gear shifter.
You basically, to ride this motorcycle today, you have to rewire your brain.
Beautiful, beautifully maintained.
And I was very happy that I had actually seen this in flesh.
This is the best one, Norton Manx, the racing bike from 1954.
Oh God.
Staying with the freedom theme, there was a 1947 Ariel, which was also done in red, which he'd picked up and which he has restored, beautifully kept there. He's actually a collector of a lot of things.
He was a collector of collectibles.
तो मैं हॉर्न लेके आऊँ?
हाँ, आप जब तक आप हॉर्न लेते हैं तब तक हम
एक गाड़ी लेके
हमें L वाला चाहिए. जो L था ना black.
Are you sure? Okay. You don't want the straight one, right? You decide. He's going to bring both. Okay, dude. Which one are you going for?
That one definitely.
You pull that one out.
Okay.
Okay.
You go first. And Avinash, he wanted me to steal a few things off the bike.
ये दो हॉर्न.
Definitely, I'll go for this one. I was pretty sure that I wanted this particular L-shaped horn because it would be more interesting than just a standard straight one.
आपने प्राइस कितना बताया था? This was?
ये 4,000 रुपए, ये 6,000.
और अगर हम ये लें तो
इसमें से ये माइनस कर देते हैं 2,000 का हो जाएगा ना.
Sunny actually bargained them down as well, which is usual.
3.5. Please.
Sunny started at 3.5. Jesus Christ, he's scary, man.
5,500.
Oh, अच्छा.
Okay, 4.
So Sunny met his match finally in Bikram. Ultimately, they bargained for quite a while.
मैं आखिरी आपको बता दूँ 5,000 तक चल जाएगा.
Tell me.
5. 5? What?
5 is a 5.
Done. 5. I'm okay with 5.
So Sunny was definitely dumbfounded, and he tried his best to argue the price. But from 5,500 rupees, he only managed to back it down 500. I absolutely love your collection. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, boss.
Absolutely fantastic to have met you. We managed a pretty good deal, actually.
Not only did the city of dreams not disappoint us, Pune actually sent us out with a blast. Next stop is the city of Bengaluru, and something tells me that it's time to tickle our funny bone.
I have the 15,000 comics.
And I am going to be forced to lay the charm on.
And you're gorgeous as well.